Some folks have a strange idea of entertainment.
Hi, I'm Alex.
I'm Will.
And we are the Blood Brothers. No relation. And today, we are talking about Nightmare on Elm Street.
Woo!
Probably the king slasher of the 80s. As much as I'm a fan of Michael Myers, Freddy Kreuger dominated the 80s.
Absolutely.
And gotta give the devil his due. So we're going to be covering all 9 films, including Freddy vs. Jason. It's going to be kind of strange to see where Freddy vs. Jason ranks and Nightmare has to compare to our Friday rankings.
Right.
So, Will, you want to get us started on Nightmare on Elm Street?
Sure. This is honestly one of my favorite slasher franchises. I just think the first Nightmare on Elm Street, I actually, and you're gonna fucking kill me, I like the first Nightmare just a little bit more than Halloween. It's tough. Something about Nightmare, I don't know, it just struck some sort of weird creative, I don't know, and maybe it's because I have such a weird and demented, type of style and creative mind that it's exactly the kind of thing I wanted to see. Not that they aren't both 5 out of 5 gold. But that's me personally, and not even necessarily saying it's objectively better.
Hey, everyone has their own taste. Halloween's my favorite horror film ever. Only with The Thing being a close second.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Yeah, and again, it's I wouldn't even say it's objectively better necessarily.
Halloween's still better, in my opinion.
Halloween was more groundbreaking.
Definitely has a better ending.
Yeah. But
I'll say this about Freddy.
Yeah.
Yes, Jason had his 8-year stretch in the 80s where there was a new Friday every year. But I have an easier time binge watching Nightmare movies compared to trying to binge watch Jason movies.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the character of Freddy Kreuger himself. The fact that he's an actual character instead of a silent killer.
That to me is probably what sets it slightly. Oh, and also I love weird. I love weird and quirky.
And this franchise gets weird.
It gets very weird.
It gets weird quick.
And before we go into the rankings, fun fact. So, Robert Englund was actually one of the people who auditioned for the role of Han Solo.
Oh, I did not know that.
Obviously, he did not get the role, but he did bring his friend Mark along to the audition.
Mark Hamill?
Mark Hamill.
Dope.
So, we wouldn't have Luke Skywalker if not for Robert Englund.
Dope. I dig it.
I believe that is true. I'm going to look like a moron if it's not. But
more of a moron.
Right. But I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Once again, my worst is again kind of the basic bitch answer. It's the remake. But I will say this, the remake is not without merits. Jackie Earle Haley was phenomenal.
Agreed.
He got ripped off.
His makeup was not great.
His makeup wasn't good. I know they tried to make it more like a realistic burn victim instead of just burnt skin on a more monster face, but it just wasn't nearly as scary.
It looked like frozen pizza rolls gone wrong.
Yeah, it looked like it would have been...
Can you just imagine as he's gripping one of the kid, the first kid at the beginning? You're not real! Instead of saying, oh, I'm real now, or something like that.
Yeah.
You just imagine he just gets him and whispers in his ear, Tostitos.
Just pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time. But
You're about to have a slice.
Like,
I got it. We're gonna do a horror movie called Pizza Monster Man,
starring Pizza the Hut from Spaceballs. But like the makeup, it would have been really cool if it was like on a mummy.
Yeah,
but
I can see
it just didn't quite work.
Freddy already has an iconic look.
Exactly.
I
you can alter it
trying
slightly.
I appreciate them trying to make it their own.
Exactly.
But it didn't work. He didn't have a nose.
Right. But I mean, his performance is great. It's, bone chilling. But the kids were boring. And they felt I described this as the CW's A Nightmare on Elm Street. It looks flashy. It looks, very slick.
It did have Kate Cassidy in it.
It did. But everyone is way too pretty. It doesn't really feel natural. It feels like a melodrama.
I didn't think Rooney Mara from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo could be boring.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that was just her performance or just, having to do with the script, but
yeah,
I was more interested in her, boyfriend or friend character than her.
Yeah. And it felt very shallow. It felt like
it's cashing in on the remake craze going on in the horror world at that time.
Exactly.
Because Friday the 13th remake came out in 2009. This came out in 2010.
Yeah.
So it wasn't all that far off.
No, it felt very... they didn't feel like real teenagers. They sure as hell didn't look like real teenagers. Because, I know that they were like... Some of the teenagers in the original were like actually 20. But they looked like they could realistically be... at least...
They look more like college students than high school students.
They could still pass. They could still pass a lot better than the kids in this one. But again, it really felt like it was like a CW, like Degrassi type movie that happened to have Freddy Kreuger.
And Kate Cassidy is our false final girl.
Yeah.
Tina.
She's our Tina, yeah. And
it feels kind of pointless to even have that set up when we already knew how it turned out in the original.
Right.
I'm a bigger fan of her as an actress than Rooney Mara.
Sure.
Mostly because of Harper's Island.
Gotcha.
Do you remember that show?
I remember hearing about it. I know I need to watch it.
Yes.
Because I think you've recommended it to me before.
Yes. But, so I was excited to see her in this, and for her to just get killed off, for me it was a bummer.
Right.
But I do like how they pay homage to other Nightmare films in this movie. Freddy has the line, "How's this for a wet dream?"
Yeah.
Which is a callback to part 4.
Yeah. Clancy Brown's in the movie, and I love Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown, he was the sheriff.
Oh, okay. It's been a while since I've seen this movie.
Clancy Brown has one of the most interesting filmographies of any actor because he was in Shawshank Redemption, he was in Starship Troopers, and he's Mr. Krabs. That's nuts. But yeah, this one just felt so hollow and soulless. It didn't, I don't know. It felt like there was no sincerity behind it.
I feel like they could have. They almost had balls.
They almost did, yeah.
And then they didn't.
Right.
Because there was this plot of, the parents, like, he wasn't on trial or anything. The parents just straight up, like, set him on fire and kill him because they believe he's molesting their kids. And
yeah, it wasn't.
It's kind of set up of, maybe he didn't actually do it, and they killed an innocent man.
Yeah.
And to me, that would have been the perfect motivation to come back and be, okay, now I am going to kill these kids. Versus, no, turns out he was molesting the kids, and now he's just a weird demon monster thing, killing them anyway.
It would have been something that, actually would have set the remake apart from the original, that would have actually... Because I know that they tried to sort of up the ante by making him also a pedophile. It was kind of implied in the original. I mean, it was originally going to be much more blatant. I don't remember why Wes Craven took it out. It might have been to avoid an X rating.
Possibly, and plus, in later movies, Freddy comes a more fun type character who audiences want to root for. No one wants to root for a pedophile.
Right. But yeah, so number 9, the remake, it's really bad. It's not without a few good things about it, but it's really bad. My number 8 is where I slightly deviate from the norm.
All right.
Because my number 8 is Nightmare 5.
Okay.
The Dream Child. This movie... It almost felt like Halloween 5, where it's like, we don't know what to do, so we'll just sort of throw something together and resolve, and resolve it later. It wasn't like setting up elements in order to tie up the loose ends in the next one, but it felt like, let's come up with something. And what they came up with, the whole thing with like the kid... I guess it could have been cooler if the kid wasn't annoying and very wooden. They did find a kid that looked creepy. I'll give him that. But like at the end when he starts talking like Freddy, I was like, why didn't you just dub him?
And having the Freddy makeup.
Yeah.
Lighter Freddy makeup.
Why didn't you just dub his voice? Because it sounds so stupid having a little kid try to do that voice. I mean, it was... Dub it, but and it was like...
It's an interesting premise.
It is.
Because we get Alice, the final girl from part 4, returning.
Right.
And she's not dreaming, and she can't figure out how Freddy is getting to her. And then it dawns on her that it's the dreams of my unborn child. There's so much potential there, and I feel like they just waste it.
It honestly, there could also have been a way to sort of address the abortion debate with that. I mean, Black Christmas did that.
Oh, yes, they did.
And The Fly, the Cronenberg version of The Fly. I was like, man, I feel like you could have had something there. But I don't know. I mean, it was... Because the movie seemed like at times it was trying to resurrect the more serious elements, but then it also had Super Freddy, which is just pure silliness.
It's Super Freddy! Super Freddy. I was not impressed.
Yeah, it was just... I mean,
if you didn't think Freddy jumped the shark in part 4, you knew it. He jumped the shark for sure in part 5.
Yeah, when he's fighting a guy who created a comic book character, and now Freddy is playing a comic book supervillain version of himself. And
there's also a scene in the movie where he's emerging out of water, and he's spitting the water out, you know how you're swimming in a pool and you're like. Yeah. He's doing that, and it's just... And, of course, we get the Bon Appetit, bitch.
Yeah.
This Freddy is clearly just here for the one-liners.
Yeah. Some of the cinematography was good. The opening scene where you see, Amanda Kreuger in the insane asylum, that was kind of cool, but and the effects are always good. That's one thing is... Robert Englund and the effects team were both very consistent.
Dan's death at the beginning of the movie, Alice's boyfriend.
Yeah.
I know he survived in part 4. He's the first one to die in this one.
Right.
His death was
Which
great.
one was his? Was that the motorcycle?
Yes, the motorcycle kill.
Yeah. Again, the Robert Englund and the effects team both never... They never slipped. And... To me, those are kind of the two constant good things about the series. As stupid as some of it got, Robert Englund and the effects team stayed consistently pretty solid.
I will say, I feel as though throughout the franchise, or at least especially with the first 6 movies,
Right.
Freddy's makeup gets like pinker and pinker.
Yeah.
Especially in 5 and 6. Especially 6.
Yeah, where he doesn't even... It
looks
look
more like a rubber mask.
Yeah.
It doesn't even look like he's a burn victim.
Yeah. But again, I think that was more because they were trying to make Freddy...
more cartoonish.
Yeah.
But even in part 5 with the Bon Appetit bitch line.
Yeah.
Like, the makeup on Freddy in that close-up does not look scary to me.
It really didn't.
It's a very terrifying scene.
Yeah.
The model always thinks she has to be real skinny, and then Freddy basically feeding her to death.
Yeah, and again, the way it was shot was very creepy.
Yes, I'll give it that. But, as soon as we get the Bon Appetit, bitch, took me out of it.
Yeah.
We threw away a tense scene for a zinger.
Right.
And I feel that's Nightmare 5 in a nutshell. Is we're going to build you up to a possible good scare, and then we're going to get you at a zinger.
Right.
Because we get that with the Amanda Kreuger, Freddy Kreuger confrontation near the beginning of the movie, where she's condemning him, and he's just, "We'll see, bitch."
See, that one I didn't mind, because there's something just kind of chilling about him calling his own mother a bitch. It had just, by that point, him adding bitch to various lines had been cheapened to where it felt like a catchphrase.
Well, that's probably why I didn't like it so much.
Right. Have you watched Never Sleep Again?
Not yet. I haven't had a chance.
It's so good. But my number 7 is Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare.
All right.
I know most people hate this more than I do, but I have a couple of things in it that I'm like, I really got to give it credit. One of them is the fact that they did come up with an ending. It was dumb, but it was at least...
Sperm demons.
Right. I mean, that design was stupid, but at least there was something remotely creative about it.
I like that they brought back the green blood.
Yeah.
I just keep on coming.
Yeah. The fair scene is really good.
Yeah, I thought it was cheesy.
See, I felt like the concept alone of all the parents, like, I felt like that was a cool concept.
For me, what bothers me about Freddy's Dead is what happened to Alice. There's no mention of her.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't bother me so much if it was like Friday the 13th where continuity didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a very light continuity going.
Yeah.
Because we've seen characters come back to the franchise. So what happened to Alice?
Yeah.
Did she move away? Did Freddy get her? Because, of course, at the end of part 5, we see the little light come on.
Right.
Because at the end of all these movies, there's a hint he's still out there.
Yeah.
So did she die? What happened? That kind of bothered me personally.
Oh, no.
Because Alice was a good final girl in a pair of bad movies.
Oh, absolutely. I also have to give it the scene with Freddy's stepfather with the Alice Cooper cameo. It was really cool seeing Alice Cooper be unlike Alice Cooper. Be just this bitter old redneck, and I felt like he acted it surprisingly well. It was very unnerving.
There's also the scene where
it was kind of campy, but it also was like genuinely unsettling.
There's also the scene where Freddy, before he's the monster, is killing his daughter's mom in front of her.
Yeah,
and like he sees her looking, finishes killing mom, and is just, now we don't say anything.
Yeah.
That was creepy.
Yeah, and then Yaphet Kotto. I can't remember the character's name, but the black guy.
Okay.
I feel terrible that I'm like, I don't remember the name, but the black guy. I feel terrible about that. Because he was also in Live and Let Die. He was a Bond villain. And then he was he the one that was in Alien?
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, I think that was him. But he was great. Again, even when he's telling, delivering some pretty stupid mythology, he's selling it. He's selling his, when he's telling, sort of telling the story about the dream demons and everything, he's selling it because he was a good actor.
For me, I can appreciate after it's revealed that he has a daughter instead of a son. I kind of got into it. Everything prior to that, though, is so horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, at the start of the movie, they literally recreate the Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz, yeah.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little soul, too. Ah, ha, ha.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm not saying most of the movie isn't really, really stupid. I'm just saying that to me is what gives it the edge over number 5.
Every town has an Elm Street. That doesn't even
that's
make
a cop-out. But that to me is what gives it the edge over 5. Is just there are a few elements that I'm like, I really got to give it credit for that.
That it at least leans into the campiness and kind of veering more toward comedy. Yeah. Whereas like Freddy's Dead is more of a horror comedy, and Nightmare 5 is a horror movie that has bad comedy.
Yeah, it felt like it was in denial about being...
Yes. Like it still wanted to take itself seriously.
Yeah, and the elements that were serious usually kind of worked in 5. But, yeah, with this one, it was like, it knows what it is. What it is dumb as hell, but it doesn't have the same identity crisis that 5
and this
does.
This is the one where Freddy has a one-liner after every kill.
Yeah.
Nice hearing from you, Carlos.
Yeah. Great graphics. Yeah. Yeah, you
forgot about the power glove. He literally kills someone through video games. Let's be honest, that was every parent's wet dream.
Oh yeah.
Because
we were right.
Yep.
But yeah, so that to me is the reason 6 just gets a slight edge over 5. It's just those little things where I'm like, gotta give him credit for that.
All right. So that would your number. Speaking of number 6,
right?
Your number 6 is.
This is a movie that I struggled with my 5 and 6, and this is a movie that I really wanted to like a lot more than I did, and that's Part 2.
Really?
Yeah.
That's. I thought this would be much higher.
Yeah.
On your list.
I'll start with what I do really like about it. Jesse is great. I love Jesse. I think he's a very underrated, survivor.
Unfortunately, male protagonist in horror movies wasn't really popular in the 80s.
Right.
Like, it was more popular in the 90s.
Unless you were like a hero. Unless you were like a fighter.
Yes.
You had to be like, the one duking it out.
Yeah, this is a male version of a Scream Queen.
Yeah. Which fitting because, there was, for one, not only was the actor gay, but there was so much gay subtext in this movie.
I didn't even realize that when I was younger. And even I watched it for the first time again a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I rewatched it later on for the rankings. But when I was watching it again, when I first saw it, I was thinking, why does everyone think it's so gay? Is it because of
because Jesse's a little wimpy?
Because he's a little wimpy, and it's the high-pitched screaming.
Yeah.
Because it's not manly screams. It's, he's not fighting. Even his lines kind of have slight innuendos.
Yeah.
But, I thought maybe just because it's a boy being put in the position of a girl, that's why it was considered gay. And then I rewatched it again, and I was, yeah, this movie kind of gay.
Yeah. Bro, this shit gay as fuck.
The one that got me the most, though, was the scene when he's unpacking his room and he starts dancing, and there's like the close-up on him like shaking his ass. And I'm just, yeah, okay. Because I remember he's using his ass to like
close a drawer,
and I'm just
Well, and I mean, and then you've got the leather bar with the baseball coach, and then him getting whipped on his naked ass, and like
you see the towel hit the ass and the red mark stay on the ass.
Right. Like, I like the fact that there's so much gay subtext.
It
like
pushed
that.
the envelope.
It
And
did.
I don't think it gets enough credit for that. Because this one is really the black sheep of the franchise.
It really is. I like the fact that it's willing to be as gay as it is.
And you almost forget about it, really, because of how terrifying Freddy is in this movie.
Right, and that's the other thing, is Freddy is still threatening in this one.
He's got red eyes in this one, which does not make another appearance.
Right. Yeah, the makeup department said that they were going for making him a male witch.
They pulled it
explains
off.
why he has this bigger, slightly more, hooked nose. The opening scene with the bus is really solid.
Still holds up well. I think it's one of the best openings in horror history, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I'll take that, and that's easily top 10, possibly top 5.
It's really good.
I think it's a better opening than the original.
Really?
I do.
Interesting.
The original's good.
Sure.
And it holds up.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess with the bus, it's not the first one. It's more of subtle scares leading up to the big one.
Yeah.
Whereas with the bus, as soon as it goes wrong, you're just waiting for it to happen.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's a constant.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And in the first one, it's like, fuck, when's it gonna happen?
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess that just depends on your preference.
Right.
But for me, I prefer number 2's opening to the original.
It is really good. But then the movie does something unforgivable. And that is, for one, the fact that Freddy even wants to be in the real world, but the fact that he succeeds. Freddy is the master of his domain. He can bend reality into whatever he wants it to be in dreams. Why the hell would he want to be in the real world?
Where he shouldn't
Right.
have all those capabilities.
Yeah, they still give him some, but that doesn't make any sense at all.
Especially after it was proven in the first one, he's just like a normal man at that point.
The line, "You are all my children now," and the shot with the fire behind him, badass.
It's one of the first things I think of when I think of this movie.
Right. But just that third act, just what happens there, to me, just completely shoots the movie in the foot. It just completely shits the bed. And derails the whole thing.
I will say, I like how Freddy has his quips in this one, but he's still terrifying.
Yeah.
There are two that I really like.
Yeah.
And that was the when he kind of first reveals himself to Jesse, and he's I need your help, Jesse. You've got the body, and I've got the brain.
Yeah.
And he literally peels back the skin on his head with the brain. That was intense.
Yeah.
And then in the finale, even though I'm not, even though you're not a big fan of it, I like how there's one guy who walks up to him and is just, we can help you. And modern Freddy, or later Freddy in the franchise, would be like, help yourself, bitch.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, it's just, help yourself, fucker.
Right, yeah.
It feels like he's pissed off instead of, I have a punchline.
Right, yeah. Catchphrase. Boom. Cut it out.
Catchphrase.
Right. But and again, this is one of those things, being a writer and, having wanted to be a director my whole life, knowing how much it pissed off Wes Craven, to me, does mean something. And the fact that the ending ruined it for him, I don't know, there's a sort of residual, frustration.
I think it's a big reason why when he did Scream, in the opening scene with Drew Barrymore's character, I like Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, I like the first one, but the rest suck.
Yeah, that was a good bit. But yeah, that's the only reason why it's 6.
I'm just surprised that that one thing
Yeah.
would place it so low on your list compared to some of the other stuff that we haven't talked about yet.
To me, it was so integral to the movie that you can't really separate it.
Okay.
The idea of Freddy wanting to possess someone isn't bad. And that sort of body horror element with Jesse, that really worked.
The characters themselves, to me, felt real.
Yeah.
Jesse, Grady, and Lisa.
Yeah.
I can remember the actress's name, Kim Myers, but I can't remember the character name.
Right.
Jesse, Grady, and Lisa, they all felt like good characters.
Yeah.
I know we briefly talked about this. Jesse's dad.
Oh, yeah.
He just seemed so...
Clue Gulliger is the guy's name. He was a Western star.
He seemed so out of sorts. Is it like when the bird explodes? Yeah. He's just, Jesse, how'd you do that? Why would you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, Clue Gulliger, he was a Western star.
He's that parent who there's a logical explanation behind this when there really isn't.
Right.
I will say there's one character in this movie that gets on my damn nerves, and that is I can't remember her name, but she's Lisa's friend.
Oh, I forgot about her.
So annoying.
Yeah.
And in the few handfuls of scenes that she's in,
yeah,
she somehow makes it worse every time.
Yeah.
Especially at the end, when they're on the bus again.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah, because she's the one the hand comes out of.
Just her acting is atrocious.
Yeah, but
at least it's all over.
Yeah. Right.
Ugh.
But yeah, that's the one thing. That's one of the things that gave it the edge behind my number 5.
And I'll say this.
Yeah.
How the hell does Freddy get beat?
Yeah.
It feels like Freddy gets defeated by true love.
Yeah, they didn't really go into that.
No, it's just, I want Jesse, give him back.
Yeah.
No, oh, and he just melts back into Jesse, and it's a cool visual. The effects are great.
Yeah.
But did Freddy just get beat by the power of love? Because I think that's what just happened.
He conquered his gay urges.
That's the message behind the movie.
Freddy was an intolerant pastor the whole time.
Freddy was Jesse's gay ego all along. It would explain so much.
Lisa prayed the gay away.
Oh my god.
Freddy was a bigoted pastor the whole time.
He got beat by true love. That's hard to overlook.
I mean, yeah, it was really bad. But my number 5. And again, I had to really, really, wrestle between my 5 and 6. My number 5 is Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master.
This movie has so much potential.
It did.
I think it gives a big fuck you right off the bat by killing the rest of the Dream
Warriors. By killing them, yeah. Because we genuinely like them.
And I understand that they had to recast the character of Kristen because Patricia Arquette didn't want to come back and do it.
Right.
I hold no fault over Tuesday Night for that. But at the same time...
It was an irreplaceable character.
It's an irreplaceable character. Kind of like with the Danielle Harris and J.C. Brandy in the Halloween 6 debacle.
Yeah.
But even then, Tuesday Night, her performance is very forgettable.
Yeah.
And I just feel that because we cared about these characters, we were there for their fears and then their triumph over Freddy in Part 3. To just be easily defeated in Part 4.
Yeah. Well, it should have ended with 3 anyway.
Yes, it should have.
But to me, one of the things that gave this one the edge over Part 2 was the cockroach kill.
That's a good one.
One of the best kills in the entire franchise. I mean, it's terrifying. It's disgusting. The effects are great. Because it would have been so easy, because they established right off the bat, kind of clunkily, but they established right off the bat she's terrified of roaches. It would have been so easy for them to make her death more like Creepshow, where she's, killed by roaches.
Yeah, or eaten alive by roaches.
Yeah,
but instead...
Or is attacked by a giant roach or
Yes.
something. But she becomes the roach, like this sort of Kafka body horror.
The scene, her transformation scene is so disgusting.
Yeah.
It's one of the most memorable things in the entire franchise.
Oh, absolutely.
Hands
That's
down.
what I'm saying, is like this kill is one of the best in the franchise, and even though the rest of the movie, or most of the movie around it is pretty mediocre, like I cannot...
Like Alice's brother's karate skills.
Oh yeah, that. But and this was definitely sort of the start of the decline. But
I felt it was a decline the moment Freddy's on the beach and he's putting on the close up of him putting on the sunglasses.
That was the moment of, oh no.
That's we just jumped the shark.
Yeah.
We're going downhill, and we're going downhill fast, and we're not stopping, and we're not doing anything to stop it, with the exception of the cockroach kill.
Yeah. But that kill was so good. Naming the dog at the beginning Jason was kind of funny. It reminds me of one of the only funny jokes in Scary Movie 5 was Charlie Sheen plays himself, and he has a cat named Emilio. I'm like, okay, that's funny. I remember seeing in Never Sleep Again, which highly recommend, the actor who played Kincaid said, because Kincaid, dies in the opening scene, and he said, I guess they realized they forgot to kill the brother in the last one, so...
I don't know, and it's one of those, oh wow, a black guy survived a horror movie. That's so great.
Never mind.
Yeah. and for me, it's, if you're gonna kill off the rest of the Dream Warriors, they should have done it all at once.
Yeah.
I could get killing one at the beginning because it's, okay, Freddy's back and he's fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And it made sense that it would be Kincaid. Because his whole thing is that he's super strong. He would fight back. But even the way they kill him was lame.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't even attempt to fight.
No.
It's just, Freddy's back!
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Freddy's there and stab.
Yeah.
I did like the lines that they had toward each other with the, I'll see you in hell. Yeah. Tell them Freddy sent you.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I could get killing off one Dream Warrior at the beginning, but then you need to have your other two be like trying to figure out how to stop them, because all the characters outside of Alice, after the last two Dream Warriors are killed, are bland and boring. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cockroach kill is great, but
the character is very
I can't remember the character's name.
Me neither, but yeah, she lifted weights and she was afraid of bugs. Like,
they're all stereotypes.
Yeah.
Rather than, they could have went the Scream route. I mean, granted, this was way before Scream. Yeah. But they could have went the Scream route and kept the characters who survived and just keep their story progressing. Which means if they do die later in the film, it has more of an impact, and this film would probably hold up better. Yeah. Versus just give it, because we see the struggles they go through in part 3, and we want them to succeed. Right. We want them to survive. In this one, I don't care. Yeah. It's like, yeah, they all have goals and stuff they want to do, but where are their struggles? What makes me want to see them succeed?
But yeah.
What makes me want to see Alice's brother become a karate master?
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
He can't dodge one flying glove. One flying glove. You couldn't kick that shit out of the way with your massive karate skills? Yeah. And what's even... I will say, it is slightly creepy after he's dead and Alice is dreaming and they're in the restaurant. Yeah. And Freddy picks the brother's head out of the food. Yeah. He's soul food. Creepy, quirky, but creepy. I'll give it that.
Line was dumb, but the scene itself was pretty freaky.
Yes. The little Alice brother meatball. No!
Yeah. Did you see the name of the restaurant?
No, I did not.
The Crave Inn.
Funny.
I was like, okay, I'll give it.
And
the thing with the time loop. Remember that where it's like they like loop? Do you not remember that? Where like they arrive, it's like they leave the restaurant, like, come on, we gotta get him. They pull back into the restaurant, like, come on, we get, like, it's.
I vaguely.
It's
remember.
like it's dream logic, like that was creative. But just this is what happens when you have cool visuals and cool like ideas for sequences, but not a good story.
Well, and it's like I said when you were talking about part 5.
Yeah.
Alice is a good final girl in a pair of bad movies.
Yeah.
I know because Patricia Arquette refused to come back and do it. I feel like 3, 4, and 5 should have been Kristen's trilogy.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Alice, but I mean, again, her supporting cast does not help her compared to and I don't understand Kristen's death in 4. I mean, I get why Freddy kills her, and the image of her soul literally entering his body and him like almost like powering up.
Yeah.
Cool visual.
Yeah.
Bad movie.
The souls emerging like bursting from his body at the end was cool.
Oh yeah.
That was cool. Just that vision. Again, this to me is what would happen if Zack Snyder made a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Cool, like great visuals, awesome like shot composition, crappy storytelling.
For me, it's just, why would Kristen pass on her power? If she lets her power die with her, Freddy can't get to anybody else. He needs a gateway. Kristen was the gateway. Because she was able to loop in everyone into her dream.
Yeah.
Why pass that on to someone? It makes no damn sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatevs.
Yeah. But
there were things I liked about it, but there's so much I don't like about it. It's a reason why I don't see how you could have it over number 2.
Just the
cockroach scene is just that much better than the Freddy's in the real world.
That, and again, I felt like I like some of the camera work in this one. I like the fact that it was so visually creative, whereas 2, like from a visual standpoint, played it very safe.
Kind of basic.
Yeah. But just this one, both are very mediocre to me. But the good parts of both of them are great. Both of them have very high highs and very low lows.
Okay.
And this one's highs just barely outweighed part 2's lows for me. But again, that was a very, very close race. Number 4, Freddy vs. Jason.
All right. Where was this ranked on your Jason list? Was it number 5?
Something like that.
Because I believe you had it 6 and then you moved it up to 5.
No, it was the other way around.
Other way around?
Because I was like, you know what? The remake is better.
Okay, so you moved it down to 6, I believe?
I'm checking right now. Yes, correct. But
so number 6 in Friday, and now number 4 in Freddy.
Yes, and that's mostly just a quantity over quality thing. That's not because it's better than, like, more... Like, it's better than most of the Nightmare movies, but, like, not in Freddy. It's the fact that there are just fewer films.
Fair. I mean, there are 12 Jasons and only 9 Freddys.
Right. But, again, Robert Englund, man.
I feel as though with Freddy vs. Jason, Freddy was so stale up to this point. And even though the movie itself is not particularly good, Robert Englund feels revitalized.
Yeah.
Like he has a new sense of energy.
Freddy is back. Or the original Freddy is back. And you know what I mean.
Part 3 Freddy is back.
Right. What I mean is as opposed to in New Nightmare.
5, 6, or...
No, I'm referring to, like, this is original Freddy is back.
Okay.
Given that in New Nightmare, Freddy was back. But, like, This is classic Freddy is back. He's terrifying. He's quipping, but he's terrifying.
With the exception of one. Got your nose!
Yeah.
The nose should have stayed off.
Yeah. Oh, again, this movie to me is aggressively okay.
Aggressively okay.
What I mean is, it's like,
what a phrase.
Right, but like, it's what I mean is, it's like, it has high highs and low lows, is what I mean by that. Like, it's the high highs, again, like the scene with the guy's brother in the bathroom.
It's really good.
That was so good.
Even with the little brother's death.
Yeah.
The build up to it was very tense.
Yeah.
Freddy's just send a message for me. I won't do it. No.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to figure out to do it myself then, won't I?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was just it's like, yes, he's giving those quips, but he doesn't feel like a cartoon.
Right.
He feels sadistic. And that was something that was missing for a long time.
Right. And that to me is why this movie succeeds more than it fails. Just because Freddy being done so well elevates this movie.
And the fight scenes between Freddy and Jason, even in the dream world.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great.
I mean, and even when it does get a little comedic, like with the pinball scene.
Oh, tilt. It
Like,
works for me.
England sells it. He sells every moment he's in.
Oh, scary.
Even the dark meat joke which was so bad, but
Think you're so smart, huh, bitch?
yeah.
Oh,
How
sweet.
dark meat. But it's like, but Robert Englund sells it, man. And to me, he elevates this movie beyond
Beyond its worth, really.
Yeah, exactly. Beyond,
Because we've talked about this in our Friday the
Yeah.
13th coverage. Laurie is one of the worst final
Laurie
girls.
is fucking
Who
awful.
talks like that all
It was-
the time?
You know what it was? It was Shyamalan acting.
Ugh.
Like, everything is said wide-eyed and like this.
Wide-eyed and a whisper, but
Yeah.
slightly innocent, but yet sexy at
It
the
was,
same time.
It was Zooey Deschanel in The Happening.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what her performance was. It was Zooey Deschanel in The Happening.
How I feel watching some of these nightmare movies. It makes you want to kill yourself. Just when you thought there couldn't be more evil invented.
Yeah. But no, that's what her performance is like.
It really is.
And just, but a good villain can rescue a shitty movie.
I really wish they could have got Betsy Palmer.
Oh, that would have been so good.
I mean, whoever was performing as Mrs. Voorhees does a good job.
Yeah.
But damn, it would have been nice if we could have gotten
That
Betsy
would have been a
Palmer.
great-
That would have been like coming full circle.
Right. But yeah, we've talked enough about this one in our last one. But yeah, to me, that's what saves this movie from being straight up bad is Robert Englund, man. Just the Freddy's, and again, the scene in the bathroom.
I really think Robert Englund doesn't get enough credit as an actor outside of Freddy.
He's a great actor.
Because I mean, it takes a lot of talent to elevate a piece of garbage into something tolerable.
Yeah.
And I feel like he does that with Freddy vs. Jason. Not so much with some other horror movies I've seen him in.
Yeah.
But
Look up the movie Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon. It's a mockumentary about a slasher villain.
oh yes, I know about this.
And Robert Englund in this one plays like the Dr. Loomis character. And is really good. And his name is Doc Halloran, which is a Shining reference.
Nice.
Because the whole Doc thing,
Yes.
and then obviously Dick Halloran. But no, Robert Englund is a great actor. He's willing to do a lot of shittier horror movies, but
I think it's 3001 Maniacs.
2001 man.
2001
I didn't hate that one, but it wasn't good. But I didn't. I've seen him do way worse.
I kind of hated it.
But I mean, well, it's the same thing with someone like Tony Todd or Malcolm McDowell.
Fair.
Like, fantastic actors, but not above doing some shitty horror movies. Now we get to the top 3, which all 3 of these I think are...
I believe we have the same top 3, just probably going to be in different order.
Oh, yeah. My number 3. This was another one where my 2 and 3, tough decision. My number 3 is Dream Warriors.
All right.
I love this movie so much. This actually has my favorite kill possibly in slasher history. And that is the marionette kill.
Oh, that's good.
I love that one so much.
It makes you
it's
cringe
so
thinking
like
about it.
Like it's
I feel this is Freddy's introduced in part 1. He's kind of tamed in part 2. And part 3,
he's
he just
unleashed.
Unleashed and goes wild.
He's got more fodder. He's got...
And these kids are in, a psychological asylum. It's his freaking playground.
Yeah.
And just, we get it right away with the marionette kill. And this character he's almost introduced as almost like a love interest for Kristen.
Yeah.
But he has that welcome to the snake pit.
Yeah.
Like, he's the cool guy. Right. You think he's going to last a while. He's the first to get killed off.
Yeah. And you've got some really pretty solid stop motion with the actual, like...
With the puppet.
The actual marionette. But then the actual marionette kill is my favorite kill in slasher history, probably.
Wow. Bold statement.
It is a bold statement. I know.
Better than the cockroach kill.
I think so.
What makes it a better kill?
I mean, being in a better movie, but also just how much you just wince and feel all that pain when the veins get torn. Like, it's just, and him screaming from not being able to control his own body. I mean, and then just like that, just how gracefully. And everyone else watching, and it looking like him committing suicide. Like, all of it just is so chilling.
Well, I think it's almost stated that even the kids could still see Freddy.
Yeah.
Or they know...
I mean, they knew that's what's going on.
They knew that's what was happening.
But that one to me...
Patricia Arquette becomes the new Scream Queen.
She's great.
But we also get Heather Langenkamp's return as Nancy, which is...
Great.
It's like we finally get an adult who has experienced this.
Yeah.
And I love the scene where they're all...
Yeah.
What's it in the... I can't remember what it's called.
But the hospital.
Not the hospital, but the session that they do. Safe room, something like that.
I've been to a psych ward. I should know this. But
I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry.
No, I joked about it. I told a joke. You're allowed to laugh.
I think it's just safe room. You can say whatever you want. And Nancy's just, I know what you've been through. And they're just, how can you possibly know? And she starts to describe Freddy.
Yeah.
And just seeing their reactions of, oh.
Wait, all of us are seeing the same thing?
Yes.
Like,
and for me, that was just, okay, finally.
Yeah.
And it just helped build this it was like a team building moment of, you want to see all of them make it, and not all of them are going to.
This was a better version of what H2O tried to do. And then what Halloween 2018 succeeded in doing. You've got the original final girl. She sees new kids being tormented by this same person who ruined her life and nearly killed her. And she immediately says, I've got to stop this.
This really felt like it should have been the end for Freddy. It should have been. The end of Nightmare on Elm Street, because they even brought back John Saxon.
Yeah.
To play Nancy's dad.
And who doesn't love John Saxon?
Now, the whole them fighting the skeleton thing.
I mean, that was a little silly, but at the same time, whatever.
The skeleton knocks out the doctor and...
Yeah, it was partially an homage to Ray Harryhausen.
Now, what I'm confused with is, again, this is the real world. How does a stack of bones come to life in the real world?
Weren't they doing like a spell?
They were casting holy water. They had to properly bury his remains and cast it away with holy water. But Freddy could like sense it happening and basically left the dream world and possessed his bones.
See, he was possessing something.
Okay, that's fair then.
So you can
Because he was about to kill, I think, Kincaid or Nancy. I think Kincaid.
Okay.
Because that was the
because Joey was the one that got like trapped, and it was like come and get me or whatever on the chest, which
yes, because I love Nancy was let him go, and you just start seeing it happen. It was like ooh, and then come and get him, bitch.
Yeah. I mean,
again, bitch didn't feel overused or as a catchphrase.
It wasn't a catchphrase yet.
It became one.
It was a threat. This is the movie that made it one, but at this point, I mean, welcome to prime time, bitch, which England came up with. Originally, he just had the "Your Big Break in TV," but England came up with "Welcome to prime time, bitch,"
which was great.
Absolutely,
the kills in this movie are so great.
Also, I'm a big '80s metalhead, and the Dokken music was so good.
And I will say, we also get. There's so much mythology to this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we get introduced to Freddy's mom in this one. And
that whole scene with the ghost of Freddy, I mean, when you realize that that's what's going on, you're like, that's really cool.
Can we also talk about how the doctor is Dr. Gordon? I know it has nothing to do with Saw. I just thought it was ironic.
She's a doctor. I wasn't even thinking about that. Oh, and we had a young Lawrence Fishburne credited as Larry Fishburne.
That's right.
As the orderly. That's sort of like that like Kincaid forms a bond with. They're like, we're the only two black guys here.
Man, it's just I didn't care much for the subplot of the Dr. Gordon Nancy. Possible
that
love.
felt forced, but
it felt forced, and he seemed way too old for her.
Yeah,
he's at least a decade older than her.
Yeah,
which didn't work for me.
Yeah,
and that we almost get like a subplot villain as well in this movie.
Oh, with the nurse.
Yes.
Was she a nurse or was she a doctor?
I think she doctor. It was I think the
character's
name is.
I feel bad for just saying nurse now.
We all know you're not a sexist. Her name is Dr. Elizabeth Sims, and she's played by Priscilla Pointer.
Yeah.
And her performance, it almost feels like Nurse Ratched.
It is. And Priscilla Pointer didn't approach her as a villain.
No, not at all.
She approached her as, like, strict, but, like, seriously wants to help them and is trying to get them to snap out of these delusions.
But the thing is that I never really got that.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I don't...
In the context of the movie,
I get that she's strict, but I never got that she was really just trying to help. It was more like she was just pissed off that they're just... Why can't you just admit that you're delusional?
Yeah.
Can't you see I'm trying to... I love that she's taking Kristen away. Can't you see I'm trying to help you? Fuck you bitch!
The actor who played Kincaid, in his audition did the fuck you. That was in his audition.
I love when he enters the dream world with Kristen and Nancy.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, Freddy, you want some pussy?
Yes. Oh, you were calling me. Gotcha. Okay.
And I like the visual effects of the Freddy worm that's trying to eat Kristen when Nancy enters the dream.
Worm was friggin' terrifying.
And, Nancy stabs it in the eye, and then he looks at her. You. It's like, oh, we're back.
Yeah.
We're back to what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I love the scene where they try to rescue Joey, and he has Kincaid by the throat.
Yeah.
And they're like, fight him, Kincaid. And he's just, yes, it's the soul of the children that give me strength. And he kind of rips his sweater.
And you see all the screen. Yeah.
The face is in his skin. Good.
Creepy as hell.
That was one of the most creepy scenes in the movie and in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
And knowing that kind of pain, like, you think it's over after he just kills them. No, they're condemned to a fate worse than death.
Their souls are trapped. Like, he is holding their souls hostage.
It was very horrific.
Yeah.
And that makes it even worse to see all the other... Anytime you see... When the rest of the Dream Warriors die, because you know they're condemned to that fate. Especially Krista, because you see the soul shoot right into him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... yeah, and then that sort of hell-like... sort of dream prison, whatever, like Freddy's sort of dream lair.
Yeah.
Which they bring back in New Nightmare. I thought that was great. Where you've got Joey essentially like being held over the pit of hell or something. It looks like in Temple of Doom. But yeah, this one it's just fucking awesome.
It really is. And I just hate that they waste the Dream Warriors in part 4. That it makes it so bittersweet.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen the music video for the song Dream Warriors, look it up because it's an awesome music video.
I'm gonna have to look
because they use footage, but they also I think got Patricia Arquette to do some additional stuff because Robert Englund was also in it as Freddy. And at the very end it ends with Freddy waking up and he's like, "Who are those guys?" Yeah, Dokken was an awesome 80s metal band.
I feel this is peak Freddy.
It really is. My number 2, again, choosing between 2 and 3 was so hard. Something about New Nightmare. Just
all the way at your number 2.
I love New Nightmare.
I love that it's not really Freddy.
It's the creature that inspired Freddy.
Yeah, it's like some evil entity that possesses the form, that takes the form of Freddy.
This was sort of, again, the pre-Scream.
It was because I mean we get Wes Craven playing himself.
Yeah, it was
Heather
like
Langenkamp is playing herself.
Yeah.
While playing Nancy.
Right.
We even get Robert Englund as Robert Englund.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he was like painting a picture, but
yeah,
he's on
was.
The phone.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He's on the phone with Nancy, and he's fixed on whatever.
There's a scene similar to that scene in Dream Warriors where she's talking about what she's seen, and he just starts like answering like it's like he starts finishing her sentences, and he's just been painting this horrifying like portrait of this demon Freddy. And the redesign of Freddy works really well. The green eyes, these like puke green.
The fact that it's not even a glove, it's like metal.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like it's adamantium claws, like Wolverine or something.
And his
skin's not burnt; it's like split open, and he's built. He's all muscular, and his
sweater's kind of like redesigned.
Yeah, and he's got a black cloak. Or a black like jacket. Trench coat.
That worked for me.
Yeah, and the fedora's black now. Like
and the babysitter's death scene.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie could have been elevated by having a better kid actor.
I didn't think he was that bad.
I wasn't a fan.
I mean, maybe it's just because I've seen way worse, and because
there was the one in part 5.
I was about to say, and he's way better than the kid in part 5. But
for me, that was the best thing that kid did. Was just trying to reach up toward the babysitter. And it was very reminiscent of the first kill, of her being dragged all over the place.
Yeah. I think...
hey, you ever played Skin the Cat?
Yeah. I think... I forget. I think Johnny Depp was unavailable. I do think they wanted him to be back, but he couldn't. I think... This might have been filmed around the same time as Edward Scissorhands, so it
maybe
he was starting to.
It's a shame that this movie got panned as big as it did, and it was really just because everyone was tired of Freddy versus wanting to give this one a shot. Because I didn't want to give it a shot for a while.
Because this movie is kind of the perfect antidote to the sort of Freddy burnout that had happened. This was what that franchise needed, and
it's a shame they couldn't capitalize off of it or continue with something similar.
Right. But this one, I love it so much. This one. Oh, and the nurse that I'm going to feel so bad if she was also a doctor.
I can't remember.
But you know who I'm talking about.
I do.
She was named after, like, was she the head of the MPAA? Or Hefner was her name, oddly enough, but she was like head of some sort of censorship board or something like that. And so that's why there's the running thing about, has he been watching your horror films? Like that was why there was the whole thing about, her assuming that's what's corrupting him.
It felt very reminiscent of the Priscilla Pointer's character.
Exactly, but again with that extra sort of meta satire.
Oh no, it was a doctor.
Damn it! I feel terrible now.
That's 2 strikes, Will.
I know. Jesus Christ! Oh my God! I'm so sorry.
Yes, apologize to Jesus.
Sorry, Jesus. But sorry they keep painting you white. But and this one isn't a horror comedy the way Scream is, but because it's not the whole, the whole premise isn't comedic, but
I like how they're promoting a new Nightmare movie.
Yeah.
With Nancy, and then you see Robert Englund come out in full Freddy makeup.
Yeah.
Just whoever said they didn't want to see that is a liar.
Yeah. Yeah, because England loves the fans. He's a ham. He loves to, just play it up for the fans, and him doing the "You're All My Children Now" for the audience and signing all the autographs. England loves that in real life.
And that's great.
Yeah, and so it really was him playing himself.
And it shows a lot in his performance, and just how committed he's been to this character over so many years. Was there a reason he didn't do the remake?
I think they just wanted someone else.
Big mistake.
But yeah, New Nightmare I thought was so unique and creative.
It's a way to take the character and the story in a entirely different direction.
Yeah.
We see reboots and things like that, but I wouldn't even necessarily call this a reboot. They just did something very different with the same character.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's kind of hard to even classify it in relation to the other films.
I think that's a big reason why the marketing, it's a new Nightmare, not Nightmare on Elm Street. Just this is something different, but it has Freddy.
Yeah, which you go back and watch the trailer. It's a cool trailer.
I haven't seen the trailer. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, but yeah, number one, obviously the first one. It was one of the first slasher movies I truly fell in love with.
This is God. I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
His voice changes a lot in this movie.
They distorted it more in the later movies.
Well, even in this one, when he's first talking to Tina, this is God. It's kind of high pitched.
This is God.
Yeah, it's more Robert Englund's natural voice, just with some, some crackle.
And it gets deeper. His voice gets deeper as it goes on.
Yeah, but that didn't bother me honestly. Other than the one at the very end, all of these effects hold up. There's one at the very end that all of them look back on and was like, yeah, we were out of money. We didn't know what else to do. Where you've got what essentially looks like a blow-up doll being pulled through the window.
It was a pretty bad effect.
It was. Other than
I gotta harp on the ending though, because because the effect was so bad, it felt like a cheap jump scare.
Wes Craven wanted to give it a happy ending. The studio made them leave sequel potential.
Yep, which sucks. But I think it was they ended up putting 3 or 4 endings all together,
and then picked one.
No, they did all of them,
and just used clips from different ones.
Because they talked about it ending with Freddy trying to stab her, and he disappears, and she opens the door and closes it. That would have been an ending. Okay. The happy ending of them just driving off. Yeah. But, adding the Freddy bit. Yeah. And then that would have been the end with the car driving off, but then they decided to add the whole mom gets dragged through the window.
Yeah, and then the car shuts its... Yeah,
Yeah.
it... But yeah, they were out of money, and again, literally everyone for that movie looks back and like, yeah, we're not proud of that part. But to me, it was one crappy effect in a sea of some great ones. I mean, Tina being dragged across the ceiling and everything.
Johnny Depp
Johnny Depp
full
getting
of
sucked
blood.
into the bed. Yeah. I mean, even like when he slices off the finger and stuff, or even the tongue on the phone. Like, it's...
Come to Freddy.
Yeah, it's... and again, John Saxon is so good.
You know, I'm curious, was John Saxon, you know, the dad and the mom character, were they already, like, split up? Or were they together? Because they were never on screen together.
I don't know.
And you know what else? The mom seemed kind of stable at the start of the movie. And it was, the less her daughter slept, the more of an alcoholic she became.
Yeah.
So it's... Did her daughter turn her into an alcoholic? Or is she just really bad at handling stressful situations?
I think it's the latter.
And...
when also...
I don't get the whole... Oh, it can't be real. He can't really hurt you. When they literally do a test and she pulls a hat out of her dream.
Yeah. What do you mean? I thought it was consistent.
Well, no. I'm not saying that's not consistent. I'm saying, how did none of the doctors or her mom believe her after they're doing the testing and she pulled a hat out of her dream and they all see the hat and they're just, where'd you get that hat? The fuck do you think?
People are idiots. I mean, you know, again, stuff like that usually doesn't bother me just because, and maybe it's just because I don't have a very positive opinion of humanity as a collective per se. I guess just me being as cynical as I am, I'm like, yeah, people are idiots, big deal. Like, of course. But just me personally, but I know exactly what you're saying. I thought the whole thing with the stairs where they had pancake mix was what they used.
Kind of a genius.
Yeah, that's they used. Yeah, it was Bisquick. It was just like pancake mix that they used for where she, like, her feet sink into the stairs.
I remember the scene. And it looked gross.
Yeah,
but you would never think it was Bisquick. It's a classic.
It
is. And it definitely revived the slasher genre.
Yeah.
At least for a little bit.
Yeah. Until these movies started to suck too.
And I believe we talked about this in the Friday the 13th coverage, and that was I think Halloween 4. One of the Nightmare. I think it was Nightmare on Elm Street 3 or 4. And I think Jason Takes Manhattan. All three of those came out in 1988. And Nightmare on Elm Street made more than both of those two combined.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just how iconic and how popular Freddy was. Because again, it's not just a soulless killing machine. It's a character.
Yeah, and
it has a personality.
And that was one of the main things Wes Craven wanted to do. Was actually make it a character, not just some.
This is your evil force you have to stop.
Right. But yeah, just to me, this one was kind of a perfect storm. Of
Did you know it's based off of a somewhat true story?
Yeah, of these like. Were they in like they were in another country somewhere that Wes Craven read the article.
Yeah, they were in another country. And I believe it was like a soldier who came home.
Yeah,
or someone
died in a
died in their sleep, and it was he did not want to go to sleep because he knew he would die if he fell asleep.
Yeah.
So just the kind of the premise off of that.
Yeah.
Inspired this movie.
Yeah, that, and then I think Wes Craven one time looked out his window and there was this like homeless man in a like hat had just kind of looking up through the window, just kind of like smirking or whatever. It was, and just the idea of, you know, some weirdo just like messing with him, and that inspired his look. And then in school he was bullied by a kid named Freddy Kreuger.
A lot of work went into making this.
I think it was Freddy Kreuger. It was at least Freddy, but I want to say his name was Freddy Kreuger. But yeah, just this one. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's in my top 50 favorite movies of all time. I just love it. I just love it. It's a classic for a reason. Wes Craven was truly a genius with creating this. Robert fucking Englund. Like, I don't know what else to say. Robert fucking Englund was just wonderful. I mean, just absolutely wonderful. He made this character who you kind of enjoy watching.
And you kind of feel bad that you enjoy watching because he's, you know, killing people.
Which is almost the way I would describe like Devil's Rejects or something like that.
So, quick recap of your list.
Yeah. So, number 9, The Remake. Number 8, Nightmare 5, The Dream Child. Number 7, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Number 6, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Number 5, Nightmare 4, The Dream Master. Number 4, Freddy vs. Jason. Number 3, Nightmare 3, The Dream Warriors. Number 2, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And number 1, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Alright, so our lists are very different.
Oh, really?
Yes. We do have the same top 3, just in a different order.
Right.
But everything else is... we have vastly different opinions.
Interesting.
So, let's just go ahead and kick it off. My number 9... it was Freddy's Dead for a very long time.
Really?
I have changed my mind.
Okay.
My number 9, bottom of the barrel, worst of the franchise, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5.
Really? Worse than the remake?
Worse than the remake. I am in the minority of I actually enjoyed the remake.
Okay.
I think it gets a lot of hate it doesn't deserve.
Okay.
I think while everyone praises Jackie Earle Haley,
Yeah.
I think at the same time everyone kind of harps on him just because it's not Robert Englund.
I 100% agree with that. But we're talking about 5.
But yes, Part 5 is just kind of like what you said. It's in this weird identity crisis. And
yeah.
we talked about this in the last episode of Part 5s are just exhausting.
Yeah.
They're cash cows.
Yeah.
They don't know what they are. They're just there to make a quick buck. And that's what this feels like.
Yeah.
I mean, all the side characters, you might as well just have the same side characters from Part 4. They're all the same stereotypes. And they're just there for Freddy to get his one-liners and his quips in before he's ultimately defeated. And the child actor's terrible.
Yeah.
And, you know, we talked about the voice of the... trying to imitate Freddy's voice.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Just dub it. Like, seriously, it just is so stupid.
It's kind of like Halloween 5. They give it an interesting premise, and they don't...
Yeah.
They're too afraid to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
I mean, this was not afraid, but
Right.
it does it so damn poorly.
Right.
Because you can enter Alice's dreams through the dreams of her unborn child, and since you have Kristen's dream powers of looping people into your dreams, that's all kinds of danger.
Yeah.
And it's not well
They
executed.
did nothing with it.
I mean, the best scene in the movie is when Dan gets killed in the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And after that, it's just a downhill spiraled mess.
Like I said, the effects team...
They always bring it. Robert Englund always brings it.
Those two were kind of the constants.
I mean, they can only do so much to elevate. And this movie is bad.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it. If I'm going to put in A Nightmare on Elm Street, it's not going to be one of the go-tos for me.
Oh, not at all.
Now, my number 8, Freddy's dead. The final nightmare.
Yeah.
I
mean, yeah.
I can't get past the opening scene of mimicking
The Wizard of
the
Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Him wearing the witch hat and the cape and
Riding the broomstick.
The terrible effects that went into it. It's
so bad.
I can appreciate the second half of the movie.
Yeah.
Because while it does still have Freddy with the quips and his funny zingers, they bring the tension back a
They
little
actually,
bit
they do more than just that.
The whole first half,
it's just that.
It's like you're watching Freddy in a comedy.
Yeah.
And again, the makeup just looked lazy.
Yeah.
On Freddy. It doesn't look as burned up or demented or evil. It's just more of Freddy's just, oh, it's another day at the office, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and killing someone with a video game.
Great graphics.
You should know that you're kind of reaching for straws.
Yeah. At least it could have been worse though, because Breckenmeyer was also in Garfield.
That's true.
So it could have been worse.
It could have been worse, but I mean,
Garfield maybe.
And the whole sperm demon thing. And what, did these sperm demons just kind of come out of nowhere and confront him as he was burning to death? Hey, do you want to be immortal? Do you want to live forever?
Yeah.
Yeah, bitch. All right, we're going to get inside you.
All right.
Stupid.
Swallow us.
I mean, essentially. It's such a far cry from how good Freddy was. But, like you were saying earlier, it at least knows what it is instead of constantly being torn between multiple things.
Yeah. But what it is stupid.
It's stupid, but there are more memorable things about it than Part 5. Even the stupid ending of him blowing up in the head.
Yeah.
Ah.
Like, it was very bizarre, but at least it was something interesting, I guess.
True. But I also felt Freddy wasn't a big threat in this either.
Yeah.
Big reason why I was dead last for so long, but just Part 5 is just that bad for me. At least with Part 6, even though it's stupid, there's enough of Freddy's charm to where I can I can watch a bad movie and I can put this in.
And again, the human Freddy scenes are way more menacing.
Yes. But that will lead to my number 7, which is the remake.
Yeah.
I can't place it higher. I just can't.
Again, Haley was fantastic in it.
He's underrated in this movie.
Again, it's
after he kills one of his victims, you see it's the guy who goes to prison. Yeah. And he gets killed and the other inmate's like, I didn't do it. Mm-hmm. And we cut back to the dream world and the guy's still like, it looks like he's alive. Mm-hmm. And then Freddy tells him, did you know after the heart stops beating, the brain can still function for 7 minutes? We still have 6 minutes to play. Yeah. That's terrifying.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, he's already dead and you're still gonna fuck with him. Yeah. Like, holy shit. Yeah. Like, Jackie Earle Haley felt so damn threatening. Mm-hmm. Anytime this Freddy was on screen, I felt like there was trouble. Even though the makeup wasn't impressive.
Yeah. This was a classic example of a good actor bringing their A game to a bad movie.
Yep. And I even like the glove on the chalkboard.
Otherwise known as half of Jared Butler's career.
Ready or not, here I come. Yeah. But I do hate that they kind of pussied out and didn't, made him guilty instead of making him an innocent man. Because I think that would have been an interesting take on the character.
Yeah, it would have been.
And it would have made more sense why he's returning as some hellspawn, killing all these kids in their dreams. Mm-hmm. Instead of, I was already doing this evil thing, but I still get to come back. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. And again, the final girl is just forgettable. Rooney Mara was not impressive. Yeah. That is my number 7. My number 6, Freddy vs. Jason. Okay. And it was number 8 on my Friday list. Right. Just, it's just Robert Englund does elevate it, and I love all the fight scenes. It's just hard to get past everything else. Between Lori, her love interest, and all the other characters, they just...
Yeah.
It's hard to get past it.
I know what you mean.
But we've talked about that one a whole lot.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot.
I'm going to move on.
Yeah. There's not much left to say about it.
My number 5, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master.
Okay.
The cockroach scene is great. But I can't forgive the big fuck you to the audience. Killing off all the people from Dream Warriors just to give us a bunch of bland characters.
Yeah.
And I mean no disrespect to Tuesday Night. I'm sure she was cast mostly because she probably looked as similar to Patricia Arquette as they could find. But I wish they could have found a better actress.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, like I said earlier, that was just an unwinnable situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel her death scene was the biggest fuck you.
Yeah.
She was the biggest fighter.
Yeah.
And just for her to be so easily defeated.
Yeah, it felt very unceremonious.
Unceremonious. Like, this isn't just a rando.
Yeah.
This is someone who we loved. And it was so dirty.
Yeah.
You know, her getting pushed underneath the sand and then thrown into the fire.
Yeah.
And even her popping up, being covered in dirt and grime, and then basically giving her power before her soul enters Freddy's body. It felt very disrespectful.
Yeah, I hear you.
It was hard to get it out of my mouth, but the cockroach scene, it is that impressive.
Yeah.
The body horror is spot on. And again, at the end of the movie, with all the souls leaving his body in a very vigorous manner.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels gross watching it.
Yeah.
It worked for me. But something I didn't like is that all these Freddy movies, they can't just end. They always have to end with the theme music starting and then with the hint that, oh, Freddy's still out there. Yeah. That kind of got annoying to me pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But that's my number 5. My number 4, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
Yeah.
You know, for all the reasons we've talked about it, I can forgive the finale.
Okay.
Because I think the rest of the movie holds up well.
Okay.
And I kind of wish we could have gotten Jesse in future installments.
I did too.
And I really think people don't give this one the credit it does deserve.
Yeah.
Because you could take part 2 out and just go 1, 3, 4, 5.
It's kind of
It's like the Season of the Witch, which is...
Well, no, because that movie is its own thing entirely.
I know that, but this is the only one that didn't really feel that there was a whole lot of continuity. I know they mentioned
this
Nancy.
This one is more like Friday the 13th 5.
Okay.
Where it's like, it's still technically part of the same continuity, but it has no effect on it.
Yeah. And I just... You know, even... I could even appreciate Lisa as a character.
Sure.
You know, even though she was the side character, she kind of takes over that lead and helps, you know, basically defeats Freddy on her own. But I hate that it was done through the power of love.
Yeah.
Just, Freddy is a demon from hell, but he can't beat true love.
Aww.
I guess Nancy was not meant to be with Johnny Depp.
I guess not.
She was meant to be with that shitty ass doctor.
I guess so.
Oh, man.
He's a doctor.
I think even with all the... with how homoerotic it is, as off-putting as that can be for some people...
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I think it's...
I'm glad to see that, you know, I'm glad, especially as...
In the 80s, I was glad to see a movie be that bold.
Yeah, especially when this movie was made, you know, I wish that they had actually gone through with the representation and just straight up made him gay. But I don't think the actor was out of the closet yet anyway.
No, he was not.
But there was enough gay subtext in it that I'm like, you know what, good for them.
Moving on.
Yeah.
And I did like how his real quick. I did like Freddy's look, even if it was a little different.
Oh, I liked it. Yeah.
And even his voice was a little deeper in this one.
Yeah, this is when they really started to just, drop it. To just really, distort it.
My number 3. New Nightmare.
Okay. Understandable.
I know less is more, quality over quantity.
Just wanted a little bit more.
I wanted a little bit more kills.
I
wanted to see this Freddy, this version of him in action more.
Yeah.
Instead of kind of being talked about a lot.
Yeah.
Because he's not in it very much. Which, again, it does make it a little more effective, but at the same time, Freddy's an actual character.
Yeah.
Who I want to see. And having that almost minimalized kind of...
I think Wes Craven wanted to bring it back to it being about the characters and less about, just how elaborate the kills can be.
Which is understandable, but...
We'd come to expect more kills at this point.
Because I think there's only 3 in the entire movie.
Really?
2 or 3, yeah.
The Nancy's husband. Or Heather's husband.
The babysitter.
The babysitter. And Freddy, I guess?
Maybe. Maybe it. Damn.
I need to watch it again.
I will say, I did like the fact that the boy's dinosaur, his stuffed animal dinosaur, was his protector in his dreams.
Yeah.
Like,
it felt very sincere and it felt very, it was very sweet.
And even, like now for me as a parent, it's, I could kind of see why kids want to sleep with a stuffed animal now because it kind of keeps the nightmares away.
Yeah.
And I like how in the movie, Freddy, I think Heather lifts up the sheets and you see the dinosaur all ripped to shreds and it's like, oh no, Freddy can get to him now.
Yeah.
Like it was a nice little touch.
Yeah, Freddy proved that he's, really a threat.
It was a really nice touch for me.
Yeah.
My number 2.
I think I know what you're about to say your number 2 is.
My number 2 is the first one.
Yeah.
It's the original. I just it's an all-time classic, hands down.
No, I
can't take away.
Keep in mind my number 1 in Saw was the second one. So true. It's all good. Like,
but it's just
it didn't
it's the convoluted endings.
Yeah.
And I actually want to talk about my number 2 and my number 1 at the same time because that'll help kind of clear it up.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's...
So number 1 is obviously Dream Warriors, part 3. I think the characters in Dream Warriors are fleshed out better and more than the characters in part 1.
Oh, sure.
Like,
I would agree with that.
We get, Nancy, who, Nancy's done pretty well. Tina gets a little bit before she's killed off. And then you have the mom and the dad.
Yeah.
No one else is really fleshed out. Johnny Depp is just remembered because he's Johnny Depp.
Right.
There's not much about Glenn that's memorable.
And and it's not that they're poorly acted.
No, not at all.
They're just...
But I don't have...
It's not their story.
It's not their story.
It's not an ensemble film the way Dream Warriors is.
And I think that's why Dream Warriors works because rather than just, Freddy's going to kill off the majority of these characters and... Yeah, it's gonna suck, but it's not gonna make you upset.
Yeah, this was
in Dream Warriors. It made me upset to see, the obvious beautiful girl who didn't think she was, but in her dream she was.
Yeah.
She kind of, she stabs him, but she ultimately fails and she dies. That sucked, and I hated seeing it.
Yeah.
The nerd who, wanted to be the Grand Wizard, and
the Wizard Master, not the Grand Wizard.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. Yeah, it's late.
Run, Kincaid.
The Wizard Master, who was wheelchair bound. He could walk, and he was doing spells.
Yeah.
And it just rips your heart out when Freddy just grabs him by the throat and lifts him in the air. Sorry, kid, I don't believe in fairy tales.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that one was very much an ensemble story because the first one was Nancy's story. That one was about Nancy, whereas Dream Warriors is about all of these kids.
And for me, it's just how poorly edited and convoluted the ending for part 1 was.
That's fair.
And just the fact that Wes Craven and the studio wanted 2 separate things, it didn't help.
Right.
I mean, everything else is great though.
Yeah.
But Dream Warriors is just, I love the cast.
Oh yeah.
And I love that each one, it's not like it's a waste of screen time.
Yeah. I think I know what you're saying because I think it's sort of like what I was saying with choosing between the first 2 Saw movies is it's not so much something that the
Part
first
1 did wrong.
It's just what you like more. It's just
precisely
what you thought was better about the other one. Not
and it's my list. I could put something above the original.
Of course.
Because I make bold choices.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even with Friday 13th, the original was, I think, number 4 on my list. But Dream Warriors it's fun and it's peak Freddy.
It is.
Like, yes, you kind of get that dark humor in part 1. Part 3, it's maximized. We get welcome to prime time, bitch.
Yeah, but still scary.
Yes, but still scary. And even when he does kill the girl, with the needles injecting into things on her arm, that was creepy as hell.
Yeah.
And he ends it with a quip,
Yeah.
What a rush.
Yeah.
It works, but it's still scary.
The scene prior was so horrifying.
Yes.
That the quip doesn't tank it.
That's right. And, her scream is just gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
And, the character Philip with the marionette, one of the best kills in the franchise.
Oh, yeah.
And again, really the only thing I have to harp on Dream Warriors is Dr. Gordon. He feels flat. He feels very wooden.
Yeah.
I did like his stuff with the ghost of Amanda Kreuger.
Yeah.
I kind of like the reveal at the end of, you're his mother.
Yeah.
But all the other stuff, the forced relationship or, hinted relationship with Nancy.
Yeah.
And even his little fight, his bar fight with the dad. It felt flat and forced.
Yeah.
But even John Saxon had a moment of emotion when he sees the bones of Freddy and it come to life and he just, you killed my wife, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. Well, and then also the moment where he's like, Nancy, I thought you grew out of this.
Precisely.
I mean, where he's just like, I thought we had finally gotten past this.
It just, everything about it except Gordon works for me.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I hands down think it's the best in the franchise.
Sure.
So, recap. My number 9, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5. Number 8, Freddy's Dead. 7 is the remake. I didn't put it last. Number 6, Freddy vs. Jason. Number 5, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. Number 4, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Number 3, New Nightmare. Number 2, the original Nightmare on Elm Street. And number 1 is Dream Warriors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I will say I probably do need to go back and watch the remake again, and maybe that would kind of put it at last for me. But just 5 was that bad.
Yeah. This is another one where it's like, I think with Texas Chainsaw, where even though they were in different orders, we knew here are the bad ones, here are the meh ones, and here are the great ones.
Precisely. Because again, we have the same top 3.
Yeah.
Just arranged differently.
Yeah, and the same bottom 3,
and
just
the same
arranged differently.
3, yeah.
So it was really more of, again, it was just more, what we liked more about which ones. But we knew, we both agreed, here are the bad ones, here are the ones, and here are the good ones.
But much praise to Robert Englund for...
He never half-assed it.
No, he didn't. And he could have, because those movies got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And he continued to bring his A game.
Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis.
Halloween, yeah.
Because even though those movies kept declining, he always brought his best.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that from Robert
Absolutely.
Englund, because he could have just phoned it in.
Absolutely.
But he never did. He never chose to do that.
Well, and we said the same thing about Malcolm McDowell, where
That's
it's
right.
like as stupid of a direction as they took Dr. Loomis in, he brought it. He wasn't sleepwalking through it. He was, giving it his all. He was being Malcolm McDowell. And bringing as much gravitas and class as he tends to do, no matter how stupid it got.
Did you ever get a chance to watch those Halloween 2007 bloopers?
No.
Gotta get around to it, man.
I was
Him
like-
and Brad Dourif just cursing it up in the police car is
Oh, man.
hilarious.
I can imagine. Well, they're fun guys.
Yeah.
I
I think that's gonna be it.
think that's
for
it.
Nightmare on Elm Street, and
Next episode, I think we're going to do Hellraiser.
that's right. We have such sights to show you. I can't wait
It's
to
going to
talk about Hellraiser, the good, the bad, and the really, really ugly.
the good, the bad, and the and the revelation.
I like that.
The good, the bad, and the holy shit.
But in a bad way.
Right, yeah. The good, the bad, and the Jesus Christ. But yeah. So, with that, I'm Will Lastly.
I'm Alex Maynard.
And until next time, be right back!